Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness related, a soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one word, riveting, it terrors my pilot. Streams that are promised to make seeking less.
No doubt.
So none of us are immune for that. But
Mm,
it's the best part because that's where the growth happens, I feel, is when you
yeah.
fail and get through it. That's how you grow. You don't, that's why everybody talks about success. This is what to do
Yeah.
with success. This is what to be perfect. Fuck, nothing in our society is perfect. Why you
Nothing. There's no
trying to
such
do
thing.
that? Yeah.
There's no such
That's
thing.
easy. How do you live with chaos?
You organize it.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, it's the trick is not to how to live perfect, is how to live with chaos, because that's going to
Mm,
happen more than perfect. Maybe perfect will be one day and something, but other than
yeah.
that,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you
when
got
you
to
say
find.
that, it brings to mind acceptance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think that's the only way to perhaps maybe
yeah,
organize it by living with it.
exactly. And we want to change the world and make it like we want to be. And I think that's, I was just helping a member, or not even a member, it was on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't give me this grant. They don't. Yes, that,
Mm,
that happens a lot. Now you have two things to do. You go out and try to change the system, and you may change something in about 10, 20 years, or
yeah.
you figure out the system what it is and you use the goddamn thing. Don't
Absolutely.
get pissed off because it's not like you would do it. It's
Yeah.
there as it is. And
Yeah.
it's, the water is blue. You want to change the color? Well,
Yeah. I agree. Don't. It's pretty simple to me the way I see it. You control what you can, and what you can't
right.
control, you don't try to.
Right, exactly. I mean, if you want, there are missions. I mean, people, like in our country, Martin Luther King or something, he did that work
Mm,
for 20, 30 years or whatever.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a different, but if you're trying to get out of a trouble or something, you're trying to succeed at something or give that you want to, so you have to do it within the boundaries. I remember reading books about mythology and
Yeah.
uh, the when I was probably more your age, like 30 or so, and trying to figure out the world a little bit as a guy,
Yeah.
how the hero would go out and slay the dragon, and then come back to the village.
Yeah.
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 And the village wouldn't understand or whatever. And what I was reading said, you have to use the village's language. You can't use your language.
Mm, correct.
And to communicate, it's learning that language. That's your obligation, not just say, well, fuck you, you don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Going back to the topic of love, I
Uh-huh.
was curious, what inspired you to give back the way you have been doing over the years? I think there's a niche there attached to love, perhaps.
Um, well, it's always there. I never had the language for it. I never, the inside loneliness. And I think that's what it is. I mean, we all carry around this loneliness in our society now. It's
Mm,
more now in our society. Oh, yeah, England has a department of loneliness.
sure do.
Yeah. And we're working on that in this country too. Our head of our top doctor,
Yeah.
Surgeon General, he's called, is working on loneliness. And this is, we don't have community. Uh,
Mm,
and but no, it's, and I never thought of it in a big way like that. It was my own heart always felt lonely.
yeah.
Uh, Even when I was doing more than I ever thought I would do. I mean, I'm like a
Mm,
coal miner's grandson that came to the country from Czechoslovakia to work in the coal mines.
yeah.
And both my grandparents were that way. And so for me to have the success I am, that's beyond my imagination in a way. Uh, but there was still, and I remember even like like doing big TV shows and all that kind of stuff and whatever,
Yeah.
and coming off of them and still being lonely, yeah, in a way, happily married or whatever, and all this kind of stuff, but something that heart was trained differently. Yeah.
Mm. It's interesting. That's interesting.
Oh, we
But
all struggle, and I think
yeah,
we
I'm
have,
just thinking about the whole idea of loneliness. Perhaps that's something that's still a mystery to us that we
yeah, oh,
perhaps still yet to figure out.
yes, yeah,
You know?
no, but I know the more open I am, I mean,
Yeah.
it pisses people off sometimes. It lost me millions of dollars. When I started wearing these question mark suits, I was on what they call home shopping. That was a TV show. I would sell 30,000 books in a day, you know.
Yeah.
I came wearing my question mark suit. They didn't want that.
Mm.
And yeah, I said, this is me. I thought about it and get advice from friends. Everybody said, people giving you all that money? What the hell? If they the dress code, fuck, take the money. But it
Mm.
was different. It was, and that's why those decisions like that
Yeah.
are the most important in your life because that's when you grow. Yeah,
Mm.
because you're working or doing something that's bigger than you,
Yeah.
and that's what we all have to have because
Mm.
us is sort of stupid.
Here's a question for
So,
you. Um, do you believe in regrets?
not much, and nothing I can do about it. I'm always thinking about tomorrow, like
Always
even
think about the
now.
next one.
Yeah, it phew, I made a lot of bad decisions.
But as you said, isn't that you falling or making mistakes and all these things?
Gotta do that to grow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's one I have. I don't know why. Back in the 80s or whatever, I was
Yeah.
friends with somebody at the Russian embassy,
Mm.
and that was before the Berlin Wall came down and all that.
Yeah.
Uh, and the FBI was following me around because I had a friend at the end, like a spy versus spy. And I said, well, I'll play your game, but I'm going to tell everybody, you know. So I told my, hey, the FBI wants you uh, to, come to our side. And he said,
Yeah.
fuck that, man. What, I have to worry about getting a job and getting anything to do with that.
Trouble.
But then when the wall came down and everything, he asked me to come over there and speak.
Mm.
And I said no because I was traveling so much at the time. I just had a new child
Yeah.
and it was cold as hell in winter here. And that's the only thing I said, God, I should have. But
Mm.
I'm sure there's others that are probably more important, but that's the one that sticks in me. The opportunities in life come by. That's why I like working myself.
Yeah.
So an opportunity comes by, I can stop and take advantage of it instead
Mm.
of, oh no, I got my list here. I got to do this by the end of the day or
Okay.
whatever. So you miss things in life that won't come by again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes what I got from that is sometimes it pays to be impulsive or
Yes.
spontaneous.
Yes. Because here's the phrase I use a lot now.
Yeah.
Your heart is smarter than your brain.
Mm.
There's a
That's very
poem
interesting.
for you.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a poem there somewhere.
And that came to me when I was helping my son when he was just got out of college. He was in Washington trying to get a big job and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And he would start reading about Obama.
Yeah.
And he wanted to quit his job and go. This was before he even started running and wanted to go and be a volunteer.
Yeah.
And but all his friends were saying, "No, you have a good job, pension already." I'm fucking 21 years old, worrying about a pension.
Mm.
This is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I said, God, if you're waking up every morning on Monday and say, "We wish you weren't here," you gotta leave. I mean, you have to follow, and that's when your heart is smarter than your brain. It's telling you that, you know, But then because we're educated, we want to have a spreadsheet.
Yeah, yeah. It's true.
How
It's
much
true.
what's good, what's bad, blah, 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 blah. No, man, I love you. I don't know, fuck. So your feet smell. I love you.
The only thing I would say is that really your heart though, or is that intuition? Is that instincts? Is
Yeah, well, where else does
you know?
intuition come from? A lot of it comes from my ass, but
it's very somewhat paradoxical,
right.
uh, to figure out
Oh
where that
God,
source
I don't
from
know.
somewhat, you know. But yes, that's I do like the way you put it though. Your heart is smarter than your brain. Um,
Well, that's telling you what you really want to do, and your brain will get out the spreadsheets. You know?
to somewhat unravel how to do it. You're saying.
Right.
I
Yeah.
do like it. I do like it. I do like it. I do like it. As
See,
I was gonna ask you, as a child, could you credit anybody as far as inspiration goes, relating to who you turned out to be in life? And are you
oh,
pleased with that
don't.
person?
Superman, maybe, but but I could never be that strong and
Superman.
beat up all the bullies. So that was
Superman.
out. I was asked that question like heroes.
Mm,
I, was on some talk show and we had to do this. It was some big game talk show. We had to give our heroes, and the only people I could think of was Nelson Mandela and Muhammad Ali
interesting.
because they gave up everything for
What
a
they
higher
believed in.
cause. I mean, Ali, time was his prime, gave it all up and went to jail for not going to war.
Mm,
I met him by accident once too.
yeah,
Um, he was giving a speech in a hotel that I was running a conference in too. I was talking, and my staff went out to get him, see if he'd come out and
yeah,
say hello to our attendees. So he came up to the podium where I was,
yeah.
and he shook my hands, and as a gag, I fell on the floor.
I can see
Like
you do
he,
something like
like he hit,
that.
like he hit me or whatever. And he was great. He said, uh, let's go. Howard Cosell makes a lot of money making a fool out of himself. What's your excuse?
Yeah,
Howard Cosell was a broadcaster that
yeah,
he would spar with verbally all the time.
yeah. I remember him. I've seen quite a few clips with him and Ali going at it. Pure banter. I love the banter, man. Them two, they had a great chemistry, I would say.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, he's a nice man. And that's why he was something bigger. Okay, I'll go to jail. I don't like this war. This is
Mm,
wrong. And you don't get that in capitalist societies that people stand up for
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
something bigger than them.
It
And
makes
that,
me think. It makes me think about what you were just saying just now, where your brain, where your heart is smarter than your brain. Because I have this thought when you were talking about it, like perhaps Ali in that moment, he was thinking, you know what, this is probably one of the main purpose I'm here on this earth in this moment right now. This decision to not go to war. Do you think
right.
it
Oh,
could possibly be?
exactly. See, I mean, that's because he was I mean, he had that power. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, and there's no encouragement to do that. See, imagine him going to all the people that are living off his money.
yeah, mm,
And they're his friends now, right?
yeah.
So he's telling them, hey, I'm going to give up all this money to go to jail. What? And they'll come up with reasons why you
Yeah.
shouldn't. Yeah.
I mean,
And I
it's just
find that
crazy.
out. Yeah.
It sounds crazy when you think about it out
That's why
loud. It's,
you have to trust your heart. And that's why things have to be bigger than me. I have to work on things that are bigger than me to keep me
mm,
interested. Um,
could that be the
and
sign?
Pardon me?
Could that be the sign, the
Yeah,
indicator to say that, you know what, this is something that I should do. It's bigger than me,
right.
and it's the
That's
right thing to
bigger
go
than
with
me,
it.
right. Yeah.
It's
And that gets you up in the morning more than anything, I
precisely,
think.
precisely. You know,
Oh, I gotta make rent. Oh, fuck.
it's just, whew, that's a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, purpose, purpose comes to mind, but it's such a crazy thing because if you're thinking about it, we're not here for just one moment, but that one moment could define your whole being, your whole time on this earth.
Yes. That's why I think they're the most important decisions. Things I made when I gave away all the money for this and
Yeah.
with a publisher who didn't treat me right. I didn't like that.
Mm,
Take fucking money. I don't, you know, how you treat people is more important. Yeah.
yeah. That's
But you have few times to do that.
mm,
At least me, maybe two, three times my whole life to do that, to make a stupid decision for myself, but for
yeah.
a greater idea. But they're the most life-forming decisions because
Mm,
they help build your character, I
yeah.
guess. I don't have,
Absolutely.
just my own instinct, but it's biased if it's my instinct.
I can see how you could come to that conclusion. But
Yeah.
no, don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. um, I'm really enjoying the conversation. We don't have much time, but I have one more question I was
Uh-huh.
curious about asking you. In all the years you spent giving back to the masses, how have you experienced this somewhat
How,
come back
how
to
about
you? In all
how
the
has it?
years you
Yeah.
spent giving back to the masses, how have you experienced this reciprocated or come back to you?
Oh, uh, to me, it's absolutely selfish in the point of doing it. Uh, doing it and being able to tell myself I did it
Mm,
is very selfish. I mean, that's why I think giving is the most selfish thing we could do because it feels so good. I can't explain it. I'm not a poet. Maybe you can. Uh, that it feels so good. I mean, don't you want to love somebody really hard? I mean, why do we
yeah,
pick up little puppies and babies and want to pour our
mm,
heart out? You
yeah,
know? So that's why in grown-ups too, there's a way to do that. Hey, I just want to show you how much well, it's really an opportunity you're given to give your heart more
mm,
out. There's something outside of you, even if it's another person, and giving them a cupcake or whatever it is.
yeah,
It's a gift that grows your heart, I think. And growing your heart, which I don't know what the fuck that really means, but uh, how do you walk through this shithole life
yeah,
we all
yeah,
got to get through
mm,
with some, not the dignity, but the comfort of love? And I think when you're giving love to others, maybe what it is that makes us feel good because we're showing ourselves what love is and
yeah.
how it feels. Yeah.
Mm. To answer your question, I did actually come up with something, and it brings me back to the idea, what inspired me to write the poem, the piece that I read, the quote from that piece,
Right.
because the poem is actually called "Live."
Lift.
Yes, it's called "Live," and ultimately, that's what I get from your explanation, what you just um, broken down. It's an opportunity to have a greater experience
Oh,
to live, and growth is a better chance for us to connect.
mm.
You know, so just my 2 pence on it, but I'm sure you, you
No,
know,
I believe it. I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago. Yeah.
but that's
Maybe
what time is
20,
for.
30. The younger I was, just chasing some shit. You don't even know why.
Hey, we do what we do, man, and just live with the
Right.
consequence, as you said,
Mhm.
you know. Sir, it has been a pleasure, and
Oh, my
thank you
pleasure.
so
We didn't
much for
even talk
giving.
about my business. That's good.
I had a plan, but the conversation was so scripted by itself. I didn't. I
Yeah.
thought, let me not
It's
disturb
fun
it,
to
you know.
talk to a poet because
Yeah,
you're the people that talk about real life.
yeah. We stick to the innuendos and subliminals sometimes, you know,
Right.
the in betweens that people don't
Right.
necessarily. The little
A
man,
lot of stuff
as in.
happening in between.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time,
My
sir.
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Take care. Till next time. I would love to have you back in the future.
Uh, Hurry up. I only have about 10, 12 years left.
No worries. Uh, I'll be back. I'll be back. Take care, sir.
Okay.
Have a
Bye
good one.
bye.
Bye.
Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness related, a soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one word, riveting, it tells my pilot. Streams that are promised to make seeking less.